You'll get it. You ready, Tone? There we go. Okay.
Okay. So I'd like to call to order the April 2nd meeting of the New Canaan Board of Education. A little late because we had some delicious food from the culinary group and got to see some interesting robotics things beforehand. So sorry for anybody that was waiting for us to start the meeting. Before you have the minutes from our March 19th meeting. If I could have you take a look at those, and when you're ready, if I could get a motion to approve those minutes. Tom, second. Jen? All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you. All right, moving on to review and approval of the agenda. Before you have this evening's agenda, I'd like to add one item to tonight's agenda at the beginning of the reports and recognition on hiring procedures. If I could get a motion to add that agenda. Penny, second. Sherry? And then all those in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you. And then could I get a motion to approve the agenda as amended? Hazel, second. Tom, all in favor? Thank you. All right. Moving on to comments from the public. To ensure the public's right to be heard, the board has set aside time during the meeting for public comments. 2 minutes will be allotted to each speaker and a maximum of 15 minutes to each subject. Do I have anyone wishing to address the board this evening? No one? Thank you. All right. Moving on to reports and recognition. The first item on our agenda is the hiring procedures with Gary Cass and Dr. Ludsey.
Sure, I'll just briefly introduce and have Gary jump in. We had some questions recently about the process that we follow when we hire staff and the not just certified but non-certified staff. And we use a similar process regardless as we go through, so I thought it would be timely for Gary to share with the board a brief update about the process that we follow, the service that we use, the information that it provides, and just to be able to answer any questions that the board might have.
So thank you. We have a pretty well-refined hiring process. All candidates need to complete applications. We research their application materials. They're interviewed usually by teams of folks. And generally speaking, for the certified folks, they're actually doing demonstration lessons and so forth to vet our candidate pool. Generally speaking, for any particular job that we have available, multiple candidates are chosen, and usually the administrators make final choice about who the hires are. One of the things that was of concern to me when I first came into this position was the only background check screening that for years had been used by the district is fingerprinting, where candidates are, upon hire, fingerprinted at the police station. But the reports, we weren't getting the reports in a timely way. I did some research several years ago, and we ended up moving forward with a company called the Background Information Bureau, BIB, B-I-B. So they've been in business since 1995, and one of the things that we were really interested in is to find a company that offered a comprehensive employment screening management system. And this is a nationally recognized full-service employment screening provider. The reason we use them is we really are interested in getting records in a much more timely way. I will get results of criminal background checks, and it's a highly comprehensive background check that this company provides for us, looking at county court records, state records, federal records, a comprehensive criminal search, the National Sex Offender Registry search, and so forth. They even explore international records based on candidates that we hire. And I'll get the reports within 1 to 2 days. So I'm always seeing all of the criminal background reports in a very timely way before they are hired. So it's part of our process now. We've been using it for several years now, and that has provided us a good opportunity to be able to vet our candidates in that way.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Gary?
I guess I would just share that this has come to our attention because of what was in the news just today about an assistant coach with our basketball team. So we are continuing, we're going to look very closely at the service that we're using, the reports that it does, and look at all of our processes and procedures. But we did want to make sure that the board knew, we do follow a very purposeful process when we do our hiring, regardless of certified, non-certified, what have you. And if those reports do come back with anything noted, then Gary and the administrator would bring that person in, would talk to them about what was on the report, and then we've, in the past, not hired people as a result of those background reports that we've gotten. So in this specific case, we're doing some diligence around this, and as we learn more, we'll certainly let the board know and let the community know. But at this point, we did follow the same process that Gary outlined with this individual, just like we do with all of our certified, non-certified folks, and run them through both the fingerprinting and this background check service. We are required to do the fingerprinting. We're not required to do this other service. But as Gary said, when he became our Director of Human Resources, he felt that this was another layer of protection that he wanted to give to our kids, which is why we do this extra piece. So we're already doing more than required, and more than most districts. In truth, most go with the fingerprinting only. So we're going to look into this more carefully, but we just wanted to share with the Board of Ed that certainly we have followed that procedure and that process in all cases, this one included.
Jen?
So I just have a quick question. I'm not sure for who, but are these checks especially for, in this instance, this is an assistant coach, so they're not here that often. Is it done yearly? Are these background checks done on a yearly basis as they?
These are not. These are done upon hiring.
Upon hiring. So regardless if it's for one season per year, they're hired, then they're hired? And what happens if something happens in the interim? Are you notified or?
Well, generally speaking, if something happened after hire, we will hear about it.
Hopefully, right.
Yes.
We have a good relationship with the police department here in town, who also has a good relationship with other police departments in the area. So typically, if something like that were to happen, that we would be notified by the police department, or, as we know, the news gets out quickly, and we also read the papers and watch online and do those things as well. So, we have over 100 coaches.
Yes.
That we have?
Yes.
And there's a cost to running the background checks, so it's something that we do upon hire because we don't know what's happened in the past, but going forward, when
Right.
they're here, we would, typically, we would be notified if something were to happen by the police department.
I mean, I know being a Sunday school teacher, I have to do it every year. I don't know, it's just something maybe to think about. And then we don't do drug testing or anything, do we?
No, we don't.
No.
Anyone else? Well, I think, I think the message is that, we're going to review our process and see, how, if there's ways to improve it, then we'll look at those and maybe we can get a report back to the board, either through Friday notes or something like that. So.
Glad to do that.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Thanks, Gary.
Okay, moving on to the Career and Technology Education Update with Mr. Zambrano. And
Team.
And team. So while Jim is getting set up, I just want to introduce Jim Zambrano, who is the department chair for the Career and Technology Education, who has a wonderful staff with him this evening. He will introduce everyone and the role that they play within the department. I do think it's really important. It was about 4 years ago when CTE came in front of the board and did a presentation. And since then, we've hired new people, and we've offered a tremendous amount of new courses. So we thought it would be good to give the board an update of all the areas that we've grown in this department. And then I do want to formally thank the students for coming this evening. The crepes were delicious, and the VEX robotic, I mean, it is quite impressive, and I know that's just one small piece of what you all do. And I know Jim's going to talk about the gifts up here, which is another piece, but thank you so much for coming this evening. We really greatly appreciate having you here and look forward to your presentation, so thank you.
First of all, thank you. We good here? Should I adjust? All right. Thanks for having us tonight. Appreciate it. It's always a pleasure to come and share what we do with you. My name is Jim Zambrano. I'm the Department Chair for Career and Technical Education, or as we like to call it, CTE. Here at New Canaan High School, the CTE department is comprised of 3 areas of study: business education, family consumer science, and technology and engineering education. Let me ask a question. Who here has had a course in any of those areas? By raise of hand. Not everybody, but almost everybody. Well, guess what? Here at New Canaan High School, every student has at least 1 semester to experience a career pathway of their choice. Every student needs a half credit in CTE elective to graduate, and this CTE elective can be taken in any of their 4 years. I'm going to show you a quick little video that we put together to kind of show you the gist of it, and it's not everything, but it's something we put together.
What's really cool about it is that they combined all the different business classes in one, so you get a lot for one class period, and it's not just one topic the same day.
So you learned a little bit of everything, entrepreneurship, business law for a little bit.
You can also learn about credit cards, how to write a check, how to open a bank account, different business opportunities.
Just a wide variety of things, which I think was good, to kind of touch on everything and see what you like.
Okay, so I chose to take foods because, to be honest, I really love eating, and I knew that if I took this class, I would get yet another chance besides lunch to eat food in this school.
My favorite project would probably be the muffins that we made, because they were really good and they were fun to make.
This course is really interesting because it's a break from all my classes, and I get to relax and have fun.
I want to learn more about cooking, and I think now, since I took this course, I can cook at home.
I took this course because in long term I'm planning on becoming an aerospace engineer. The hands-on is really what I like most, but the whole design process is pretty interesting.
I took this course because I'm very interested in science and technology.
So far I'm enjoying the catapult project we're doing right now. We're going through the design process and then we're going to build it physically.
The ping pong catapult one that we're doing, because our teacher allows us to just make it on our own. He doesn't really interfere with what we are trying to do.
I took woodworking because I enjoy working with my hands, and I thought it'd be a fun course just to explore something that I don't really do at home that much. Favorite project would probably be the CO2 dragster. It's just cool being able to build something and then seeing it go down at 60, 70 miles per hour down a track.
My sister had taken the class before and she thought it was really fun, and she brought home a lot of cool projects, like a knock hockey table that was made out of wood. You kind of get a sense for a lot of the tools that you need to use later in life. I was redoing my room last month, and a lot of the stuff I used in this class I was able to use when I was putting up shelves and stuff.
I definitely recommend taking graphics your freshman year. Once I really got into the class and I actually opened up Photoshop and InDesign, I got to really understand the art form and how unique and special it really is.
I didn't think I had any artistic talent until I was in here and I was realizing oh, it's not even that hard, And just looking at how it's helped me kind of become quicker and more efficient in my use of the computer is really awesome as well.
My favorite experiences in TV1 were definitely like working with people on the projects. When we did the film a day in the life of project, me and 2 other friends of mine were just like at her house, just having so much fun filming and refilming. The amount of bloopers we had were hilarious. It was just so fun to be able to work on that.
What they would definitely be looking forward to is watching TV as homework. It's the best part. You get to go home and instead of doing work or just writing, which is terrible, you literally sit back on the couch and watch TV, and that's the best homework you could possibly get.
My favorite part of Yearbook is probably creating senior ads with really nice parents, because it's cool to see all the little baby photos of all the seniors that are going to graduate next year.
You got to give interviews and you really made a lot of new friends.
Overall, I love the class. It's really fun. There's a lot of good people ranging from freshman to senior, so it's very diverse.
I really like the people. It's a really nice class. Everyone's really friendly, and it's a really nice atmosphere where everyone helps each other with their and your own work.
It's definitely different than any other class I've taken, so it kind of challenges you in different ways and teaches you how to make games, which is definitely cool. So the first thing we did, you made a dragon game where you had to save other dragons by shooting fireballs.
It was really fun, very interactive. We got to experience different types of games. First we started with board games and physical types of games, and then later on we got to play video games. We got to test them, we got to see how each of them worked, and then later on we got to create our own, and that has been it. It's been really fun.
I had the most fun coding, just because it was fun to see typing something in that might seem so simple and not have that much of a difference, and see it completely change the layout of the web page.
So if you had no idea anything about coding before this class, there were multiple people that came into it and picked up HTML like it was no one's business. Even if you have no experience, it's a great class to pick up.
And it's really nice to see an end result of a functional web page that you would have never thought you could do in the first place.
Okay, so yes, students will have opportunities to eat the food that they make. They'll watch TV for homework, and they're going to have fun. They'll have a break from their stressful courses. The truth is, they work with industrial standards, professional level software and equipment. Not only will they have an experience, but they will become proficient with the software and equipment. When thinking about what motivates students, having fun is probably at the top of the list. And if we can make learning fun, well, the teaching and the learning is easy. I think it's safe to say that we, the CTE teachers, have students experience that aha moment pretty much on a daily basis. Because we make educational connections to curriculum through our authentic, hands-on style teaching. One of our mantras is CTE, we bring learning to life. So it's on the mug in front of you, just to kind of remind you about CTE, what we do. It was created downstairs on the laser engraver, and it's a way of saying thank you for all of your support. Back on topic. Another example of that aha moment in class would be a student struggling with vector resultants, whether it's in math or physics, and then they come down into engineering, they design, build, and launch a ping pong ball across the room. Besides having fun, they have that aha moment when the student realizes that 45 degrees is the optimal angle to launch a ball across the room for a maximum trajectory. Or a student who has difficulty in or graphing coordinates makes connections in computer science class when coding screen coordinates using a touch screen. We feel we are not a traditional industrial arts program from the 80s or 90s, but we fully embrace the future and forward thinking of CTE and our areas of study. Tonight you'll hear about what this department has done in just 4 years. We've brought 9 new courses, all of which have passed through the gauntlet we call curriculum writing process. These steps include writing proposals based on the changing world around us, feedback from the New Canaan High School community, student interest and needs, then present this initial findings to CLC, rewrite based on feedback from CLC, more research, national and state standards and competencies, all just to be reviewed again by CLC one more time before piloting the curriculum for the first year. Then, of course, while teaching that first year, we tweak the specifics in the lessons to make them the best they can be for each student. We teach students, not just the content. We take pride in what we have created for our students, not just for the curriculum, but also updating equipment, the studios, and the labs. We can honestly say we believe this is the best CTE program out there in the business. We can say that because when we visit other schools, attend conferences, or professional development, we see what others are doing, and we believe that we're on the front of that curve. Okay, so let me introduce the team. Again, there are 3 areas of study in CTE: business education, family consumer sciences, and technology and engineering education. First, from business education and STEM is Ms. Rachel Martinich. Rachel's been a huge part of our computer science and STEM movement. Then from family and consumer sciences, we have Mrs. Donna Sapienza, who has taken on the role of the UConn Accreditation Child Development Program, as well as continuing to provide the advanced cooking students with an opportunity to see what it's like to run a restaurant with our very own Rams Cafe. Our second family consumer science teacher is Mrs. Kelly Zilli, who has jumped right in with the foods and nutrition courses and has brought her passion for design, as you'll hear her describe her new courses. From technology and engineering education, Mr. Roman Sobolski, our resident communications guru. Roman has his area of expertise is TV broadcasting, graphics, and journalism. And then Mr. Tom Honahan, who you may know as a technology integrator, has joined the CTE team to teach web design, game design, and woodworking. Thanks, Tom. This year, I'm teaching car care, woodworking, yearbook, 2 sections of engineering, and in my free time, I take long walks on the beach, read science fiction, and I teach myself Swahili. All kidding aside, that's the introduction. Let me take a moment to give you, or to give the team some praise, because they are an amazing group of people. Our group of 6 has risen and has risen to the task of delivering the best possible CTE program anyone could dream of. Tonight you'll hear about what they each teach and their new courses they've introduced. What you won't see is their passion in the classroom, in and after school PL discussions, attending professional conferences to better their teaching practices, presenting at conferences to share their passion and expertise with others, developing day-long PD activities to push their potential, engage in summer curriculum writing, mentoring students after class or during their preps, working with clubs after school, giving up their nights and weekends to offer opportunities to students. And that's just what I can remember. I'm sure they do even more. I'm so proud and fortunate to be able to say these are my peers. Each and every one of them goes above and beyond every day to the best they can be to deliver the best curriculum available. Their willingness to push their comfort level and take on new curriculum challenges is clearly second to none. 9 new classes in 5 years, actually 4 years. It's just impressive and it's inspiring. These CTE faculty members are truly team players and have all stepped up their game to meet the needs of our students, no matter what the topic or the obstacles. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I appreciate you. Up next is Rachel Martinich to share business education and STEM.
All right, hi everyone. My name is Rachel Martinich. This is my 2nd year in the district of New Canaan. I come to you from Milford, where I taught at Jonathan Law, and while I was there in 3 years, I created a computer science graduation pathway where students can take 4 years of computer science and graduate with computer science honors. And that's something, computer science is a huge growing field in today's society, and that's something that I really wanted to bring to New Canaan. And I really think that I have done a very good job establishing a computer science pathway here in only a year and a half that I've been here. So here is the pathway that I have helped work towards creating. So in 2015-16, we offered a computer science class called Computer Science and Software Engineering. It was non-AP, but that was the pilot year because now it's AP Computer Science Principles. And it was taught using Project Lead the Way. I started in 2016, and I brought with me the mobile CSP curriculum, which it's a national curriculum that is College Board approved that I actually helped write. and I'm also a table leader for the AP reading for the AP Computer Science Principles exam. This is going to be my third year I was the first table leader at the pilot, and last year was my first with the real exam. I was a table leader there. I'm 10 years younger than every other reader there, which is pretty cool. So AP Computer Science Principles was brought in last year, and we had a really good success with it. 27 of our 30 kids that took the exam passed, which is really awesome. This year we added the course Exploring Computer Science because we decided that it would be nice to have a little intro course for kids into programming maybe before jumping into AP. So Exploring Computer Science is meant mostly for freshmen, but any grade can take it, and they learn Scratch, and they just more learn computer concepts opposed to a particular language, although we do use Scratch. And then next year it was approved to add AP Computer Science A, which is another AP course where the students will learn Java, and I'm spending 2 weeks this summer learning that curriculum up at Taft, up near Hartford. And I'm also currently right now completing a master's in computer science and software engineering to try and stay up to date with the computing languages, because I feel that some of these courses, they might be switching gears in terms of which languages they might be teaching in the future. So the pathway that I have, wait, go back one second. Sorry. So the pathway I'm hoping the students will take for computer science is their freshman year, take Exploring Computer Science, their sophomore year, maybe take AP Computer Science Principles, and then junior, senior year, take AP Computer Science A. So there is 1 year of leeway right now where the students who wanted to complete a pathway don't have that opportunity. This year I have about 7 students taking independent studies, learning different computing languages, all of which are females. Yes. I also, in my tool belt, am the business teacher. So my first year here, Ari Rothman over the summer sent me an email saying that all the business classes were being condensed into one overarching business class called Business Principles and Practices. And he said it was up to me what went into that. So I kind of try and touch upon a bunch of different business topics. The biggest one being career and personal finance, where the kids learn how to fill out a W-4 and an I-9 when they get a job. They also learn to do their taxes. I also teach them how to balance a checkbook. We also move into marketing, entrepreneurship, business law. I make it dependent on what that class wants to learn that semester. I do a survey and then try and alter things to what they like. And then students can move on from there to future business leaders, which is they can take for 3 years, and that runs the school store. And it's more geared around entrepreneurship, which there's phone wallets for each of you at your seats. That was last year's entrepreneurial activity where the students decided to sell smart wallets, and they sold a lot of them. And they're currently now being sold in the Spirit store, and the special ed students are running the school store this year because we didn't have enough enrollment in the course. And the other classes underneath my realm are 3D animation, game design, robotics, and web design, which all came about last year, so this is the second year they're being run. And all of the classes ran this year, 2 sections of web design, 1 of animation, and 2 of game design? 2 game design? 1. And then you've got and 1 robotics. So all those classes ran, which shows the growing need for STEM in our school. Yep. And then, so there is a STEM problem in computer science. Currently, 58% of all new jobs in STEM are computing, but only 8% of STEM graduates are majoring in computer science. Also, there's over 500,000 job openings right now in computing. That's 10 times more jobs than students that are majoring in that field. And computer science jobs represent the #1 source of new wages in the United States. And the jobs are projected to grow at twice the national average. So on the right-hand side, I gave you the course enrollment for the computer science courses at the high school. 2016-17 was my first year where we had 37 students enrolled, and this year we have 76. So that number has pretty much doubled in 1 year since I got here. So I'm hoping by next year, since we're offering a 3rd course, that number will go up a lot more than it is. And then in terms of enrollment by gender, we are seeing an increase in female participation in computer science. My first year with AP CSP, we had about the same numbers as the Exploring Computer Science, which is this year. We had about 18% females last year and 33% females this year. And that's actually above the national average for the workforce for computing, which I think is fabulous. So that's it for me. So I'm going to pass the torch over to Donna Sapienza for Family Computer Science.
Hello, thank you for having us over here today to talk about our program, and I'm really excited to talk about Family and Consumer Science here at New Canaan High School. Family and Consumer Sciences helps to prepare students for family life, work life, and careers in family and consumer sciences. The curriculum here at New Canaan High School provides opportunities for collaboration, problem solving, critical thinking, hands-on applications, authentic performance assessments, and career exploration. And overall, our courses are all performance project-based. So what we have here in the slide are the 3 pathways here that we offer at New Canaan High School: culinary, human development, and design. And I will be talking about culinary and the human development pathways. The food and nutrition course is an exploratory introductory course to culinary, covering many topics of food preparation, consumer skills, and food and nutrition. And then we move on to, through the program, into culinary essentials and Ram's Cafe. And in this course, students plan and serve a menu in a student-run restaurant. The students experience both front and back-of-house experience. They have serve-safe training. They learn knife skills in food preparation. And they have an opportunity to apply what they've learned in a real work experience through their restaurant in an authentic performance assessment. We've been honored to be asked to prepare luncheons for NEASC a few years ago, and my students prepared the luncheon for Tri-State in the fall, which we enjoyed doing, and I think it was well received. Under the human development pathway, we have child development, and we have the UConn individual and family development course. We have a lab preschool here at the high school, and the child development students plan and execute a thematic teaching lesson for the preschool. They have lab experience in which they apply their knowledge and practice skills which they've learned in the classroom. They are basically as if they were teachers' assistants in the class. Again, they have that real-world work experience. They provide the community a service in our high school setting. 30 families are currently enrolled in the program here at the preschool this year. And then the UConn class is an honors class through the early college experience. It's 3 college credits. It has a transfer rate at about 87% with the course syllabi and transcript. And in this course, students learn human development across the lifespan through the research of psychologists like Erickson, Piaget, and Kohlberg, and others. They're required through the university to complete a research paper in which they use scholarly journals and synthesize and analyze the information and come to their own conclusions. They must demonstrate a proficiency in using the APA format. And the college requires them to complete 40 hours of volunteer time in which they have direct interaction with people across the lifespan to promote this understanding of human development. So the next pathway is design, and my colleague Kelly Azili will present that pathway.
Good evening. Thank you again for having us here. So my name is Kelly Zilli. This is my second year here at the high school. I'm actually also the vice president for the state of Connecticut's Family and Consumer Science affiliation. So my first year here, I was brought in to teach multiple foods and nutrition courses, and I taught some of the baking and pastry arts courses. During that year, just through realizing the lack of the design pathway and the interest brought up by so many students, I took it upon myself to talk about bringing in this pathway and working with Jim and then doing course proposals. We brought in interior design for this year. So in the 2016-17 year, we ran 2 courses of the interior design. Both courses capped out. There's been a great interest from it. And that kind of led us on now to bring in an interior design 2 course. It'll be a more advanced course where they'll be using more software-based learning, 2D and 3D design programming, and it'll be more long-term design programs. These are semester-long courses. Students learn about principles and elements of design, color schemes. They learn to draw floor plans to scale. They use computer softwares also. And it's also a lot about designer-client relationships. The students, for one of their final projects, actually got to work with our guidance department here, where they set up interviews with the department as if they were their clients, and they had to do the whole design process and come up with new design plans for them and made a whole presentation. So it's great. It's real-world experience. They're doing the whole step of the line. Another major reason for doing these courses and having a design pathway is that the students here really have stressed to interest. Interior design and fashion design were two of the most inquired about careers at the NCHS Career Night. So again, that was just another reason to really bring this on. So the Interior Design 1 and Interior Design 2 will be offered next year, and then we also will be offering a fashion merchandising and design course. And that course is not just for students who have that artistic background that are thinking about going into the design field. It also is going to teach students about the retail, about the merchandising, about the buying, the advertising, and the marketing. So it's really, it's a course that allows so many students to get a little bit of design background and realize all the careers that are out there for them. Thank you. Sorry, and next up is Roman.
He only needs first name.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for allowing us to be here. Appreciate it. As you know, I'm Roman Cebulski, and I have been at New Canaan High School since 2003, which was right around the time when the high school renovation started, and they were building the brand new TV studio. There are two specific areas that I concentrate in within CTE, the communications as well as the media studies. More specifically, graphic design, multimedia, journalism, and TV broadcasting. So in graphic design, it's a half-year course, which allows students to take projects from what we call concept to creation. Things such as notepads, personal logos, greeting cards, and t-shirts. All these follow a similar design process, sketching to then designing and laying it out on the computer, to manufacturing of some sort where there's a tangible product at the end that they can hold. In fact, we are expanding our manufacturing to the curriculum. This year, recently, we just got a professional t-shirt press. So students will have the ability to design their own t-shirt on the computer. We have a special printer that cuts it out with vinyl, and then we apply that through a heating press process to a t-shirt or some kind of clothing article that they can bring in, and then they have something again that they can take home and wear and be proud of because they designed it and they created the whole thing. After graphics, there are two paths really that students follow. They either go to yearbook design and publication or journalism. And speaking of journalism, it's a full-year course that produces the Courant, which has traditionally been the school's newspaper. It's completely student-run, but also now we, of course, have an online version. Students learn how to interview sources, write articles, produce their own media, such as photos and video, and lay out traditional print and online web pages. We're a multiple Columbia Scholastic Press Association winner. And right now in my classroom, I have a whole room full of kids who are finishing up the April issue of the Courant, which is scheduled to come out on Thursday. Don't worry, Mr. McIntyre is down there, who I co-teach with, so they are being supervised, hopefully. Another course I teach is Intro to TV Broadcasting. It's a half-year course that teaches students the ins and outs of the TV industry. It teaches them how to shoot and edit video, how to use a variety of technology from something as simple as shooting video with their smartphone to more expensive professional camera equipment and tripods, as well as professional editing software. As you saw in the video, they do watch some TV. We analyze the shots and talk about the characters and what goes into their creation. Students learn how to write scripts and create storyboards, and at the end of the semester, they produce their own TV show in the studio as a group. If that's a path they want to go down, they can continue into Advanced TV Broadcasting, which is a full-year course, and there are multiple levels, 2, 3, and 4. It's better known as NCTV. It's the class that runs the Educational Access Channel, which is where the Board of Ed meetings are being broadcast. We cover multiple school events such as sports, concerts, guest speakers, and special events. We produce the weekly Friday morning announcements, which is live, which is something that a lot of schools do not do, and we're very fortunate to offer that, that application here. There's a couple new things that we've done in the past few years. There's the Level 2 Honors Advanced TV Broadcasting receives college credit with Norwalk Community College, and there's multiple paid opportunities through the athletic department for students to apply their skills and get paid for it, which they really enjoy. They use cutting-edge technology, such as the NewTek TriCaster. It's a digital switcher, and the robotic cameras, which just recently got installed here. So we've upgraded that. We are in the process of upgrading our TV studio equipment and our sets, so the look of the studio itself. And we're also looking into things like instant replay machine, so we can bring that added element to our sports broadcasting. All the courses are areas that students continue to study within the communications. We call it college to career. In fact, today the New Canaanite came out with an article about some of my 4-year TV veterans and what they've learned over the course of 4 years and what they plan on studying in college. So for those of you who follow me on Twitter, I had tweeted that out earlier, if you want to take a look. And if we talk about our enrollment, we have a wonderful mix of both male and female students. And as you can see, we almost 60% are female, but it is pretty balanced, which is great. And it's a mix between freshmen all the way to seniors. So a wide variety of students. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jim Zambrano. Thank you.
I'm back again, and I realized as I looked around the room, I forgot to mention a few of my other players in the room. Jane Mitchell from Guidance helps us out when we have our CTE meetings. Dave Gussich, the assistant principal, and of course, Bill Egan, our principal, all very helpful in the process. Sorry. Okay. My areas, thank you. So we still teach a few traditional technology classes where we specifically look at tool use. Consumerism is really the focus. Those courses are woodworking and car care, and they're fairly traditional. A lot of people think, oh, with cars today, what can I do on them? And we do the basics. We still do belts, brakes, batteries, exhaust. So they still get a wonderful experience and become better consumers of the automobile. And in woodworking, they're learning joinery, what's a good piece of furniture to buy. But still, those two are fairly traditional. In the engineering area, I went off script. Our honors engineering program continues to be popular, and courses are run based on enrollment. Currently, we have 2 full-year sections of engineering, and we continue to work with the middle school, aligning STEM opportunities that encourage continuity within the engineering pathways. These middle school units are delivered in their science classes using Project Lead the Way curriculum, and in addition to that, beginning in 7th grade, students may have the opportunity to take more Project Lead the Way classes with Mrs. Birdsall. In 2014-15 school year, we introduced new courses in Project Lead the Way called Computer Science and Software Engineering. Next one, please. Oh. There we go. Thank you. Course ran for 2 years before hiring Ms. Martinich, whose credentials were much better suited to teach computer science. So we made the switch to AP Computer Science Principles, and then the following year we added Exploring Computer Science, and then next year we'll begin teaching AP Computer Science A, which is Applications. So as discussed 4 years ago with the board, we plan on bringing more computer science for more student opportunities. I believe we have met the need for our current students while developing our computer science pathways. We've been aware of the K-8 STEM integration to create seamless transitions into the high school. New in 2016-17 were 4 new courses in STEM. You've heard about them. These new courses all have to do with computer science. We offer 3D animation, game design, web design, and robotics. These courses were specifically chosen based on student survey responses, interviews with our guidance department, New Canaan High School community requests, as well as what's trending nationally. All 4 courses continue to be updated to meet the needs of our students. There's a little slide there. There's a video of a drone flipping right in this room. I'm going to skip it because we're moving on. There was a slide, if you can go back one, talked about enrollment. So this is in the engineering program. The last time, 4 years ago, I presented, this is around 15% female students. So overall, that number is going up. And the national average is 17 to 20 based on the field of engineering that you look at. But overall, I think we're doing a great job with that. We're better than the national average by several points. Keep going, next one. All right, so what do we do after school? Because we don't do enough during school. We have the VEX Robotics program, which you've heard about and you've approved. We've made it to Worlds this year, which was very exciting for myself as that mentor. We have Girls Who Code. We have the Aeronautics Club, Esports Club. I'm after at least 2 days a week. We all share in those responsibilities. I wanted to show you the little video, which I think is fun and exciting. It's shot the wrong way. It's up and down. You almost need to close your eyes and just listen to it. But it's when they realized that the 5th seed, who was us, beat the 4th seed, and they found out that because of that, they're going to Worlds. So I'm going to drive, because one of the parents gets a little too excited, and I'm going to try to keep that part out. So they're waiting for the scores. I'm going to fast forward this, sorry. Yeah, thank you, Tom.
It's coming. The anticipation is killing me.
That was 48. Here's 58. There's 3 team alliances, so those are the alliances all hanging out in the audience, along with the kids on the stage who are currently jumping up and down. It was just a really fulfilling moment for me. When people ask, they were excited. When people ask, sorry, did I not cut it soon enough? Sorry. We're going to have to edit that one, Tony. When people ask, what are you, in teaching, what are you most proud of? And it's always, student related. There's one of those moments. It's not, oh my gosh, I won some award. It's those moments that really kind of bring everything. You're like, wow, I've helped guide a student. It's kind of neat. All right, before I start crying. Clearly, I'm an emotional person. I'm a mess. Okay, after school, so something new is the Cryptocurrency Club. Mrs. Martinich is running. Mr. Spolsky does Broadcasting Club, and then Business and Venture. They're using something similar to DECA. So we do quite a bit after school. What's the future hold? Thank you for a quick transition. So career pathways, we always look at what are the career pathways, where can we go from here? So one of the ones that we're clearly looking at is to continue on with fashion design and bring in, maybe 4 levels of that. So there's sewing and draping course. That might be the following year. We already have a new course for next year. And then always looking at college accreditation for computer science, culinary, advanced TV, journalism, and graphics. We're currently, the foods and nutrition, we're trying to get Norwalk Community College to sign off on it. We worked with them last year. We're just waiting on the paperwork for that. And again, the group, they're go-getters, so they're constantly working with, whether it's NCC or another college, we're always looking for those connections. Mr. Spolsky wants to try to add in a radio station, and then also along with journalism is the alumni network, where he and Mr. McAtee are trying to get all of the students who have past graduated that are in the business right now, and there are several, and to kind of create a network for them to communicate, looking for internships, and or for our kids to make connections and go and ask questions. What's it like? Why do I want to get into this field? And then clearly we always want to keep up with the technologies and our equipment so that, again, we stay state-of-the-art and that what we're teaching really is the correct path for the kids. We don't want to teach them anything outdated. As in this day and age, things change so fast. So that's, again, where I say thank you for all the support over the years. I've been here a while, so thank you, thank you, thank you. I think we're ready for questions. Okay. Yes?
Right.
We did it.
Wow.
Thank you.
I'm impressed, too. I mean,
We just had a couple of slides.
Yeah, just a few. No, thank you. That was a wonderful summary of, there's quite a bit that we offer. I don't think people in this community realize the breadth and depth of offerings that we have available to these students. So I'm going to open it up to questions first, and I'll have a few at the end. Sherry.
So first of all, thank you for all you do, and your passion clearly shines through. And I mean, it's a gift for our students that we have such a diverse array of CTE choices to engage them and to expose them. And it was an amazing presentation. So my interest is, how do we continue to get more students into that computer science and to prepare them for that, where the careers are going in computer science. And I hear all that you're doing, and I love that you're still tracking the gender mix, and I still want to see more females in computer science as well. But I'm wondering if we would ever consider doing something like we do with the Model UN Soft Sim, where we pick a day and we expose all sophomores to the Model UN experience. We do an hour of code with all students, because I hear a lot from teens that, they're kind of, they maybe don't clearly understand what computer science is. They're intimidated. They, without even trying it, but there's tons and tons and tons of research that says that when kids these age try 1 hour of code, they're more likely to seek out a computer science curriculum. And I'm just wondering if we would ever think of doing something like that, or or your ideas on how do we get more students into these courses?
So,
It's on.
oh, okay.
Tony will adjust it.
So I've looked into the hour of code, and the hour of code is on Grace Hopper's birthday, which I think is like December 8th, something in December. And for us, December's been really busy. I feel like
it wouldn't have to be December.
So that's what I feel like. If we did it, it would have to be another time of year. I really didn't want to interrupt other teachers and take an hour away from their instruction. That was the only reason I've never tried it. But now that I hear that there might be want for it, that'd be something I definitely would be interested in looking into more.
I mean, I can just share, I run a girls organization, and last summer we ran a summer camp with 100 girls, and we gave them 1 hour of code, and we did a pre and post survey of, are you interested in computer science? And pre was like 3%, and post was 80-something%. So I do think that all of the national research around our code is compelling enough for us to, seriously consider that.
And since we're BYOD, it makes it a lot easier. A lot of schools, the problem is they don't have enough computers, or the kids don't have access to cell phones as much as our community does. So we're very fortunate we would be able to support that if we decided to move forward with it.
So what I hear is the board is asking. I got the nod from the principal, so I bet that's gonna happen next year. So thank you. I think it's a wonderful opportunity, and I think we completely agree. It's just when does it happen? So we're working on it. Yeah. So thank you. It's another opportunity.
Yeah, great. Any other questions, comments? Penny?
Well, I was just wondering, with the requirement being only to take a half credit in CTE, how many credits on average with this wonderful array of courses do students take?
So it's interesting, right? Once a student is in a pathway, so they're about 50% likely to continue on with that pathway, so it's very similar to even just a day of coding. Once they've had an opportunity, they're more likely to continue. I don't know, can anybody add to that?
I just think that, especially now creating these pathways where kids can take more than one class, I think we're going to see an increase in kids sticking with, it's already high.
Yeah. So, for Project Lead the Way, the engineering students are there some of them are there for 4 years. It's about a third of every student in the school will take more than 2 CTE classes. And then I don't know what the exact number is. It's much smaller for kids that would take actually 4 years up. But we all have examples. We can name them because we know them, students that we've had for 4 years, as opposed to, we've all also had the kid that, it wasn't the right pathway for the student, and they go on, they try something else. So it might be with one of us, it might be in a different elective.
Right. And I do, just to share or to add on to that, the new graduation requirements that Connecticut passed last July, moves away from being prescriptive around the courses that students are required to take as far as math, science, English, social studies, and others, and they group them together as STEM classes and humanities classes. So as we determine and code classes into different categories, they'll count more towards the graduation requirements that students are required to get. And I know the high school's been working on this for a little while. We'll be sharing more information with the board at an upcoming meeting. But they're moving away from saying, from the state level, this math course, these social studies courses, these English courses, these science courses, and saying, 8 or 9 credits in STEM, 8 or 9 credits in the humanities. And so I think it really does open up more options for students so that they can follow their passion more, go down some of the pathways that you're proactively creating as we look to adjust our graduation requirements based on the state's guidance around this.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Hazel?
Recently, I was looking through the book that talks about summer school programs, and I didn't get to the part that would probably describe what you all offer in the summer. What kind of things can youngsters take in the summer that would help to bridge this to go on to something that maybe they might not be able to fit into their schedules during the rest of the year?
So we're approached every year to offer summer courses, and the sky's the limit as far as what we can offer. Usually it's scheduling for us and what our summers are like. So we've done computer science, we've done woodworking. I don't know if we've done graphics in the summer, but it's usually a scheduling issue. It's always requested and asked. It is an area of improvement. We do a great job, but how do you become better? I think that's one of the areas that we possibly could do a better job at, that we could offer more opportunities in the summer for students.
So we had a very unique opportunity when Saks was shut down for so many summers, where we had to move our summer enrichment program over to the high school. And what we quickly learned was there is a wonderful facility here. So we do offer a culinary class during the summertime. We've offered a filmmaking class, and they do have the opportunity to get into the studio. They do have an opportunity to use the Rams Cafe and all the facility there. Last summer we offered a child development class. So we try to use people that have the area of expertise, but that doesn't always work out with their schedules. So we find others that will come in and learn the courses and work with high school staff and learn about the facilities here to be able to offer some of these wonderful programs through our summer enrichment program.
Any other questions? Jen?
First of all, thank you for the presents. And, we are all so lucky to have you guys. I've been fortunate enough. My boys have been in quite a few of all of your classes. And, I think in the film, one of the boys was like, I never even knew I was good at art. Like, you guys are bringing things out in the kids that they didn't even know that they have, interest in. So I think that's really cool and awesome. And I love that you're adding the new classes like the interior design and the second AP computer science class. I've heard so much excitement about that. And just kind of shows that we're on the cutting edge. Like, we're trying to give our kids, more and more, which I personally think sets us apart. So my one question is to Roman. So I've heard just from a few parents about another town that will remain nameless, that does live streaming, like a YouTube channel live streaming of games. Is that like clearly if people are traveling, they can watch their kids' games on like a live stream YouTube channel. Is that ever? I know you do some games and broadcast it, like I've seen it in the hallways and stuff. But has there ever been talk of doing anything like that?
Well, we currently do streams some games. We use the Discovery Network,
okay.
Which is who our district is contracted with. So like in the fall we have a football crew, and they do all the football games live, and they stream those out on the Discover Video, which is the same application that we use. Our weekly morning announcements go out on that, and then throughout the year we pick different events. Like we just did the prom fashion show. We also do sporting events. We pick different ones. We've done basketball games. We do different ones. Depends on the season they pick. It also depends on, for example, with the football, for example, there's a dedicated paid crew. So when there is a home game, they've committed to doing that, which does go out and it does get streamed live.
Is that funded by the football program?
That is. So we can do it. It's just a question of getting the students and the resources there, because it is after school.
Right.
As you know, most students are extremely busy with sports and other activities. What we found is that if we can pay students, then they're more likely, they will be there and they'll do it and they'll do it regularly.
Right.
So like with the football, we have a contract that they have to sign. And that's one of the steps. So I've been working with Jay Egan over the years to get that implemented. And I think we're at a point where we could start looking outside and say, hey, you know what, we could also do, the girls' volleyball season, or, we could do, boys lacrosse, or, whatever it is.
Right.
I don't know how that would work with the financials of it, but technology speaking, we already do it. So if we needed to just enhance, we just have to give more resources to doing that.
Okay.
And I know that we also looked into another company to do it, but then the flip is that they get to advertise, and we decided that that wasn't something that this district was going to do.
Right.
Well, and I'd just like to add, I think, there are resources in other sports, because I know, just for soccer, we spent a fair amount of money to have an outside company come in and video. So, I think it would be a win-win to deploy that money within the district instead of bringing outside.
And have opportunities for students to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
I think
And
it's great.
experience.
And I would agree with that, and my students would probably agree with that even more. But no, in fact, actually, this season, the parents of the ice hockey, boys ice hockey, had contacted and said, hey, can we use you guys instead? So 4 of my seniors got together and they decided who's going to record what game. And then part of the deal was that, yes, they're shooting it and they're giving the footage over in a timely manner so the team can analyze it, but it also has to air on our channel. So they have to go through the editing process and add the score bug and clean it up, and then also broadcast it. So it's a combination of it. But in regards to the curriculum, my TV students all have to go out and shoot events on their own every quarter. It's part of the requirement. So if there's a way that we can tie that into, hey, you have to shoot it anyways for a curriculum,
Right.
these are ones that are paid options. Or if you do your one for for the course, after that you're put in a pool where you are now eligible to go and get paid for some of the other games.
Yeah.
So that is something I would be more than happy to explore, because it's taken a few years. We've started that, but if it's something that we feel we want to continue and expand, then we can certainly do that.
Yeah, that'd be great. Awesome. Thanks.
Other questions? So I have a question. I know it's only been maybe a year, so we probably only have 1 year of data, but how did we do on our AP computer science prep, as, the first year that they took that?
27 of the 30 kids passed.
So three or above.
So 3 were, yeah.
Do we have any stats on fives?
Yes, I think we had 3 5s and they were all girls.
Just to let you know.
Just saying.
Just saying.
Next question.
We did have a large amount of 4s too, so
Okay.
that was pretty good.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So,
Can I ask one more?
Tom?
Any idea how that would compare with other districts in the state? Do we have any?
So our number, I did not look, but across for the national average, we are I think the average for school was 78% passing, and we were 90%.
Thank you.
We can get back to you. We'll look it up.
Great. Other questions or comments? So I also, Penny, go ahead.
So I really commend you all on all the changes and how you're bringing the whole program forward, and I think it's great. I was wondering, are there any gaps when you compare our CTE to other premier districts? If we've done that in this area and across the country, is there something that we should be thinking of as a board for areas that we haven't gotten into yet?
So CTE realized that we just offer 3 of the areas. I believe there's 17 if you look at, there's agriculture, there's nursing, right? So we offer 3 of them in CTE. So in our 3 areas, our wheelhouse, if you were to visit anyone else in the state, it wouldn't compare. And when some of us go to national conferences, I'm always kind of floored, like, this is it? I feel that we're ahead of the curve. So whenever I get an opportunity and others get an opportunity, we present at conferences and we say, hey, listen, this is what we're doing. We've had a couple of robotics and drones workshops here. We've had other schools visit our labs to see the layouts. So again, we can always do better. And the professionals are right here. They are looking, and they are eager. They enjoy what they do. They love what they do. The passion definitely shows. We also take direction. Well, I don't know if you've noticed that. So if there's something that you find that, hey, we think you should look into this, absolutely. Day of coding, we should have it. You know, it's going to happen. So.
Great. Other questions? Okay, I have just a couple other ones. So professional learning. So
Yes.
you guys are all on the forefront of things changing all the time. How are you able to stay current, and are we as a board giving you enough opportunities to stay current and progress?
Yeah, these hour after school pieces where we're able to, we've had wonderful support. So each of us kind of tailors to what it is that we need. When we need to meet as a group, we meet as a group, and we talk about overarching things that are relevant to all of us. But most of the time with those PLs, it's very specific of what it is that we're going to be teaching next year, something that we're going to introduce, or research that we want to go and spend a day on. So there's been a lot of support on that, whether it's PL or PD. I reach out to them. I say, hey, listen, here's what the district's doing, but what is it that you need? How can I support you? It's the same question you're asking. How can you guys support us? I ask the same question, and if there's something that I can go to and fight for, that's what I'll do. So I think we're doing it, and again, I appreciate the time that we have. I
was just going to add something.
Yeah, go ahead.
So case in point, so we've actually, for graphics, the T-shirt manufacturing, Jim and I actually were looking at that probably at least a year, maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah, I'd say at least
and
2.
we've researched different ones. Jim went to a couple of trade shows that had some there, and we kind of spec'd out what direction we wanted to go, and based on what would suit, our needs. And then through Perkins, we were able to order the equipment, and that also included, which included training. So what happened was that we got together and said, hey, this is what we want to do. We contacted them. We asked David, and then Bill said, hey, during one of the PD days, can we have time to work on this? So we actually had the equipment, a few weeks earlier that came in, and then they said, you know what, we're gonna come in, we're gonna set it up, we're gonna walk you through it, we're gonna bring some demo things and whatnot. So literally, like, we were able to be with the representative from the company to walk us through how to do that, which is great because
there was an online.
And there's an online component, and we worked out the software, the troubleshooting, and there's some technical things. So that I just think is one example of how effective PD can be in allowing us and giving us the time to say, hey, we really want to learn this. And then, decision being made to say, hey, you know what, this is important to them. Let's give them the time to learn and implement that. And first semester, I didn't have any graphics classes. It's the second semester, and so they're going to be the first ones to use that. So we're going to implement that in the fourth quarter. And then from there, we'll revise and we'll document, and then we'll make changes for the following year, and that'll just be an ongoing thing that happens, year in and year out, and then we'll have a sense of what we want to do, and then I'm sure there'll be things that that the main office will want to have made on T-shirts and stuff, and then it'll turn into more of a manufacturing thing.
Bill's already put in his glass order, by the way.
But it's definitely helpful. But that's just one example, I think, of it working.
Yeah.
I know for me personally, computer science, coding languages are changing rapidly, and I found I was always behind my students to the point where that's why I mentioned earlier, I'm back in school furthering, I'm getting a master's degree now in software engineering, and I'm trying my best to stay ahead, but it's really costly. It's really great that the district does help with that part of the expense, but you can't just take a crash course in one day for professional learning for a computing language. That's something that needs to be strung out over a few sessions. So that's just personally for professional learning for me. That's one thing that I am trying to stay current with, but finding it a little difficult on different types of levels. So,
And then I just also wanted to say how impressed I was that you took sort of a parent-run event, the career night, and took the data that you got from that and said, hey, you know, we need a design class because that's what our kids want, and fashion, that's the careers they want. So
We take direction well.
I love that, you know, I mean, that was not a, I mean, we work in coordination with the school to put that on, but that's really, you know, kind of, I love the communication and the taking the data that's already, you know, produced for something else, and you really took it and run with it. So, and I think that's wonderful that we're responding to students' needs and desires. But, and then also, I just wanted to compliment the radio idea. I mean, I know a number of us are big podcast listeners, and it feels like what's old is new again, you know? I mean, it's coming back, so I think it's great that we're, you know, responding to a new trend, and you know, good luck to the, you know, the high school and putting that, you know, Roman getting that going. Yeah, that's great. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. It was great.
Thank you. And thank you for the gifts.
Yes.
Yeah, they're awesome.
I know, I love it.
Thank you for the support.
Okay.
We're going to sneak out if that's okay.
Yes, you don't need to stay. Okay, thank you. All right. Moving on to our budget update with Dr. Lexi.
Yes, I just briefly, a process update on the budget. We have been meeting with the town council. As you know, the Board of Finance approved the budget a few weeks back with a $900 reduction to the $900,000. Let's get that. Let's get that right.
It was wishful thinking. You had to get up before 4 a.m.
Yeah, it was, well, we'll talk about the 4 a.m. in the next item. A $900,000 reduction to the Board of Education's budget request. So we continue to meet and have conversation with the administrative team about that and what that might look like. In the last couple of weeks, we've been meeting with the town council, both at town council meetings and with the education subcommittee from the town council, and talking just clarifying different items that are in our budget. The process continues tomorrow night with the town council. Again, there's a public hearing tomorrow night at 7 o'clock at Town Hall, in the Town Hall meeting room, where the town council turns over the mic to anyone in the community who would like to share thoughts about you know, the budget that they are then going to be voting on and approving on that Thursday evening. So it's a good opportunity for the community to share their feedback with the town council. You know, comments can be long or short, doesn't matter, but I think I know the town council appreciates hearing from the community around those things. We are continuing to meet and to discuss and to clarify wherever required any of the items that are in our budget. We continue also to receive praise for the quality of the budget document. Again, I think that it is very, very clear. So would urge anyone who's interested in learning more about the budget to go onto our website, to learn about the budget, to read through the narratives before each of the sections, and really take a look, because, you know, in our conversations, often generally, when we receive questions, we'll refer to a page number. You know, here's where you can answer this question or that question. So we try to be as clear as we can with that document that comes out, and so encourage everybody to feel free to take a look at that. But we are looking forward to good conversation tomorrow evening with the town council, and then we're even more so looking forward to the conclusion of the process on Thursday evening. And that's where things are.
Anyway, Penny?
Dr. Lutzy, can you talk a little bit about what additional cuts to the budget would do to the program that we could deliver to the students next year?
Boy, it's, well, we just heard from CTE, right, with the breadth and depth of the programs that they've developed on behalf of students and deliver each day for our kids. The $900,000 reduction to the budget, as we've talked about earlier, the budget that the Board of Education approved, that I presented, the administrative team presented to the board early in January, and that went to the Board of Finance, really was a budget that sustained what we had and looked at a couple of high leverage, low cost areas to improve, things such as the alternative school program, a couple of other things that we had. That $900,000 reduction does cause us to most likely recommend to the Board of Education that we don't do those initiatives that were high leverage, low cost. But we also have to look at some other areas that we have to reduce. So just with the $900,000 reduction that we're currently faced with, we're looking at reducing in a couple of areas. Now, if were that to go down further, certainly what begins to happen is we have to start to look at the breadth and depth of the programs that we're offering to students. And it does start to erode the variety of experiences that we're able to offer to students. In many districts, CTE would be one of the first that would be reduced, to be honest, because it's not something that's tested, right? It's not on an SAT. And so when those hard decisions have to be made, that often comes into conversations in districts. I'm not saying it would here specifically, but that often is. And it's programs like that really, as you heard tonight and saw through the videos and firsthand, add to the richness of that educational experience for kids. Sometimes that's where students, they find their passion or they become engaged in learning, or sometimes they just need to step out of the intensity of all of the academic classes to sort of just experience something new, use their hands in a new way, sort of think the cooking, the creativity, all of what comes out, whether they find a passion that they pursue for their careers or just find something that they enjoy doing, it adds to the richness of the experience. And those are the types of things that we have to look at as we experience continuous reductions to requests of our budget. So, we were reduced last year. We were able to sort of make that work, but remembering that we had a 1.6% budget last year, so it was very tight. This year, as we've been reduced, we're working off of a smaller base to begin with, and so every dollar matters and counts. And this, I mentioned at the last meeting that if there were further reduction, we have to sort of shift our thinking a little bit from program reduction to program elimination. Because these are real dollars, and as you'll see if you look carefully through that budget document and the questions that have been asked and answered, that every dollar in our budget is accounted for. We don't have contingency lines, so to speak. Everything is in a spot. It's there for a reason. It's based on our experience and knowledge, having run school districts and developed budgets for years. Of course, a budget is an itemized estimate, but it's based upon our experience and what we know and how what we've experienced here as a district. So we do the best to come in with the tightest budget that we can. So everything counts and everything will make a difference.
I think it's also, I'm probably restating what you've already said, but I think, when we were meeting with the Board of Finance and they asked us what we could reduce without impacting program, we told them that we could reduce $500,000 and likely not impact programming. And so when they came back with a $900,000 cut, that's $400,000 of program that we're having to find. And, I just had a conversation with a parent today who, was, heartbroken. She said, "What do you mean?" And I said, we were very clear that $500,000 could be done without program implications, and that anything more than that was going to have program implications. I'm not sure that people understood that. We tried to say it over and over again, but it does. So we are already having program implications with the existing cuts that the Board of Finance made. Any further will be, more detrimental. So I just, it was a hard conversation to have with a parent, because she just said, "Well, you can't cut that." And I said, everything has to be on the table now. Unfortunately, it's very unfortunate. I don't want to be doing this. I don't think any of us want to be having to discuss what we're going to be looking at once we get the final numbers. Nobody's going to be happy. Nobody's going to be happy. Brendan?
The other thing that's a little frustrating with the process is we're not only eliminating things that are low cost, we're actually eliminating things that are cost savings. They may just not be cost savings this year. The alternative school is probably number one on that list, and it's just very short-sighted to have to eliminate something like that is hugely valuable for students and probably will save costs over, if you look at 2 years, certainly over 3 years. Cutting that from the budget just doesn't make any sense for the town.
Penny?
So, I mean, I think Sherry has said this before, but any parents that are interested, any community members that are interested, I just encourage you to come and make your feelings known. You don't have to get into detail into the budget items, just to where you stand and whether or not you support the budget that the Board of Education has put forward. This is your elected town body, the town council, and I think they say on all kinds of issues that this is the group that we want to hear from. We want to hear from the taxpayers. So I would encourage you to come and speak out for education.
Hazel?
You might want to just review the logistics of where that's all taking place in time.
Yeah, it's 7 o'clock tomorrow night at Town Hall. So Tuesday, April 3rd, Town Hall, 7 p.m. All right. Anything else? Okay. So moving on to action items. New Canaan High School graduation date. I know lots of people will be happy to finally have this voted on.
Well, we almost had to change this evening. So this morning was a very close call, and I won't make the conversation about how we make we make these decisions, but I do just want to reiterate we do the very best that we can very early in the morning to try to make the best decision for everybody. This, as you can tell by the variety of calls across the state, some districts didn't have a delay, some districts like ours had a 2-hour delay, some had a 2-hour, then went to 3-hour, then went to closing, some closed right out. It was just all over the place because it's an April storm, and so you just don't know. And to think it was close to 60 degrees yesterday, and then that we'd wake up and have a 2-hour delay was hard to conceive. So we do our very best. We did have our day in, which is helpful. So now under Connecticut law, we're able to, after April 1st, to set our graduation date. And then, heaven forbid, if we were to have another storm and had a cancellation or something else were to happen, we could keep our graduation date where it's set tonight by the Board of Education. So that's helpful. If there are other closings or other things, the graduation date doesn't change. So people after tonight can make their plans if they have to do so and have whatever. So the recommendation from our last meeting was for the Board of Education to approve Thursday, June 21st as the graduation date. That will be our seniors' 180th day of school, which is the minimum required by the state. We will still have a day of school on Friday, which is, traditionally is a makeup day for students or reading day, exam return day. However, this high school decides to to run it for those seniors. But that would also be our rain date, because one of the wonderful traditions I think we have here is that we have our graduation outside at Dunning in the evening, and as those of you know who have been there, to me, it's just a spectacular experience for everybody involved. So it's helpful to have a rain date in place just in case, because it is still June. So it would be Thursday, the 21st, with a rain date of Friday, the 22nd.
All right. So if I could get a motion to approve June 21st, 2018 as graduation date for the New Canaan High School with a rain date of June 22nd, 2018. Penny, second. Jen, all those in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you very much.
Great.
All right. And then we also have our headquarters committee, second read. And if I could get a motion to approve as a second read the formation of a Board of Education Headquarters Committee as first moved and seconded by Ms. West and Mr. Hayes respectively on March 19th. Is there any other discussions before we vote? Okay. All those in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you very much. Any comments from the public? Seeing none. We'll move on to announcements and future business. Dr. Otzi.
Great. So our next meeting is 2 weeks from tonight, April 16th, at which point we will have a final budget update that we'll be sharing. Town Council will have voted and moved the budget on. We'll also have an update on our health curriculum and the revisions that have been happening there with that program, a digital citizenship update, and the statement of accounts.
Great.
And we'll be just back from our spring break that Monday evening.
Good. All right. So if there's nothing further, if I could get a motion to adjourn. Penny, second. Tom, all those in favor? It's unanimous.